Hello, and we're live. Welcome to the show. My name is Jessica, and this is Jay Gilly Tarot. I'm a psychic medium that has been practicing for around 7 years now. And I wanted to do a show today on Disclosure Day on the movie, a review from a psychic medium perspective. And I have a couple clips that I'm going to share. And also, I want to kind of get into it with the alien, quote unquote, meeting today at the White House. So, hi, everybody. Can y'all hear me? Just want to double check with my audio because I have audio issues. Can y'all hear me? Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So, Disclosure Day. I wanted to start off with, obviously all movies are going to be CIA programming, right? So I go into the movie understanding that they want to breathe in lower vibrational frequencies that activate the root chakra more so in a fear-based mindset. And so you always have to have that psychic or spiritual discernment walking into a movie. But I loved the transmissions I got from it. Now, with that being said, I feel like Steven Spielberg has lost his touch a little bit. There were so many missed opportunities for psychic humor. Just me personally as a psychic medium. And there were so many synchronicities that I personally got from the movie and Emily Blunt's character, the weather girl, with all my shenanigans that happened on the scavenger hunt of my life these past, 12 months or so. It was a very missed opportunity for humor, I felt. But with that being said, there were a lot of hidden gems and transmissions to pick up from the movie. So I'm going to start from the beginning. I have a few notes, and y'all can chime in, leave your comments below. This is like a collective discussion. I believe that every starseed, we are activating each other right now in the third final wave of what is really disclosure. And the spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the ending, if you haven't seen the movie, click off now, come back and watch this later. Just an FYI. But the last line in the movie is listen. Right when Emily Blunt's about to share with the world what the alien whispered in another language to her. And so what my takeaway and transmission from this was that do not look outside of yourself. The DNA light codes are within. The disclosure comes from within. It's not going to come from externally in our matrix information, the news, the government. They are trying to compete with the disclosure. They're trying to divert. They're trying to distract. And that's just my personal opinion. My opinion may change later on. But I think that they're constantly just leaving Easter eggs and breadcrumbs. They're never going to fully disclose. That's why we have redacted Epstein files and why we have still some redacted UFO footage. So you have to look at the movies with X-ray vision, in my opinion, and with a spiritual eye. And using your discernment, you can pull apart your own disclosure for yourself. And it's a very amazing time in our world right now, being awakened and on our path and mission. I just think it's so magical right now because we're really understanding the true power of our sovereignty and our light. And we have all come here to learn how to manipulate energy. And how we do that is by creation, whether that is movement, whether that is vocal, whether that is, everyone's going to be unique in how they learn to manipulate their own energetic field, their own frequency and resonance so that it matches to the true signal we're meant to be emitting. And I think that is one of the biggest takeaways too with the movie is that they have these little wands, yeah. And the big bad guy, Colin Firth, who is working for one of these 3-letter agencies that's surveillancing and has eyes on everybody and can grab this wand and almost get in to the consciousness of other characters, like the nun, the character that left the convent. She was like a practicing nun, but didn't quite make it to full nunnery. I don't know what you call that, she didn't fully get initiated. But there are so many takeaways from that storyline as well. And she was holding a cross, and it was like cutting into her skin. She was holding her cross in her hand. And anytime she walked into the room and the Colin Firth bad character came in and was trying to push her out of her own mind and consciousness to take over her vessel, she would grab on to try and hold on to her cross, her medal. And if you notice, when she walked in, she snapped it off her neck when Colin Firth was actually taking over her body. So that is a form of protection, yeah? So the Christ consciousness is always going to be the deepest, most grounding form of protection here in this physical plane. And that's constantly going to be armor. And that was very well depicted in the movie. However, Steven Spielberg's comments about that, how this is going to make the collective consciousness question, Catholicism and things like that. I think it poses questions to anything that's institutionalized that we hand over our power to. There's always going to be a need for discernment, because there are people in high places obviously abusing power and their positions. And the Christ consciousness is inherently within. Yes, a cross is a great representation and symbolic form of protection, but it's in the palm of our hands. It's in the DNA light codes within our very blood stream. And so there were so many transmissions I got. I'm like downloading. So excuse me if I go off on tangents. But yeah, I thought the headlines about, this is going to make humanity question religion. I mean, we've already been questioning the integrity of religious sectors. But that doesn't mean that we don't take that knowledge with us as a form of groundedness and protection. And so I just wanted to kind of like discern with that. That's how they're trying to breathe fear. And if you can take someone's identity or foundation from which they are standing upon, you rattle someone, they're easily manipulated. They are easily taken over. And so there's FYI, there is a guy that actually was abducted. He has a story where he was abducted by aliens. And he said he talks about that same wand that seems similar in the movie Disclosure Day. But the transmission that I got from it and the symbolic metaphor was Colin Firth had the electrodes on his head, right? He needed the electrodes on his head, and he needed the wand to body jump essentially into, an innocent victim, to get close to the guy that had gone rogue. I forget this character's name, but in the Bible, it says the mark of the beast. It talks about the mark of the beast, and a lot of innuendos or clues would be the phone in the hand and the Neuralink, right? The mark of the beast, or the chip. I know there's a lot of theories about the chip as well. So they are manipulating our biofield with these things. They are manipulating our thoughts to try and infiltrate what was already embedded within our light codes and our DNA. Now, with that being said, you kind of go down the path of Emily Blunt's character in the movie, and it's a little bit funny. She's suddenly very, very psychic. She's speaking light language and making interesting sounds that she thinks she's speaking English, and starts speaking Russian. She is jumping all over the place, but suddenly she is like, it's like she's in her flow. Right. And I can't even tell you, that was so well depicted about kind of being turned on and awakened to the Truman Show that is going on around you. It's kind of like being in traffic and someone cuts you off and you're like honking and they're not like acknowledging you, and you just have a bad day and you have road rage and you follow the person and you're like, you cut me off, only to find out that they're like hearing impaired. And then you feel really bad. And then you have humanity and empathy in your soul. And you're like, ugh, they just didn't know any better. That is kind of how it's like to awaken to the coding that's going on around you, the hidden in plain sight messages. And so if there's any takeaway from today, I can only hope that I help you kind of decode in your own way, in your own unique language, how to discern and decode what's meant for you. And yeah, so one of the most intriguing things was that the cardinal bird came and activated Emily Blunt's light language. It was like she was almost in a trance, and the whole day kind of went awry. She was just like, kind of going through it at lightning speed, and but she was in a flow. It was a little bit of a neurotic flow, albeit, but and like I said, there was a lot of missed opportunities for psychic humor with her character, I felt. But nonetheless, what I wanted to really point out was that light language is going to use the vowel sounds a lot, like A, E, I, O, U, and formulate a frequency and resonance in your voice box that utilizes your throat and the palate much more than I would say English does. And this is by design, intentionally. So go look up the A, E, I, O, U, the tribal languages as well, ancient languages, a lot of like Asian, I don't even know what to call them, like not cultures or ancient Asian languages have a lot of these sounds and vowels also in their mouth, and that's an activation. That's a transmission. So you can find transmissions in your everyday and see through the matrix for your own activations in consciousness and in Christ consciousness. Okay, what else? I'm trying to stay on track here. All right. So the cardinal. So animals often are the messengers of activations and transmissions as well. And when you start to slow down and go out into nature, you start to notice how you attract frequency wise all these messengers. And when you're ready in certain chapters of your life in consciousness ascension, you will start to notice synchronicities. There's all kinds of messengers. In this case, it was a cardinal. I myself have had a run in with a bird where a bird ran into my hair, my head, my bun, and got stuck. And then right after I saw cardinals, so that really resonated with me in the movie. um, and yeah, listen to the light codes within was the overall message that I got, that they're going to try and they're going to use these artificial uh, technologies to make us think, well, the aliens are talking to us and things like that. But your own experiences, your own feeling of alien run-ins or disclosure or information is going to come from within, and it's going to be something that kind of is a stop and go, in my experience, where you sit with it and you think about it, and you're kind of in a neutral ground. You don't really pick one side or another, but then as you go on your journey, you land somewhere. There's like hindsight, there's wisdom and experience, and as you move forward. And so I do think that there was an agenda in the movie where it was trying to make us feel empathy for the grays, and listening to them and handing over our power to them. I would not blindly do that, especially because there's so many grays working with the government and are on a hive mind program. And it is a theory, which I 100%, it just feels like truth to me. When I look at the movie, when I look at the Roswell, findings in history and kind of connect the dots, what I feel, and also with Amy Eskridge's research about the P45 and P52, I think, are the numbers. But she says that these beings are us in the future trying to come back to divert us away from the timeline in which we choose to hand over our soul to the Neuralink and the Mark of the Beast, which was my point in including that. So I feel that one just resonates with me. That's the transmission I got from the movie. I'm open to, I never hold an attachment too much to one thing, because I'm learning and growing and evolving every day. And I know, just as anybody, like I'm not anyone special. You can never bring your ego into it. It's just what I feel is the truth. And I have a really strong intuition. And so the reason being, I feel that the movie confirms this and Amy Eskridge's hunch as well, about that there are these aliens, could be us from the future, trying to come back and warn us and change the timeline. I also think that's what Project Looking Glass is also kind of intertwined with, because they were trying to use us, our Christ consciousness, to view and see the different timelines and how to manipulate it and how to make it work in their favor, use us. So again, I'm going to be a broken record. Spiritual sovereignty, understanding your power, not giving it away, not consenting until you know for sure it feels right in your bones. Autonomy, physical autonomy, self-autonomy, self-sufficiency, sovereignty, so important here, because we are the true leaders in this great awakening and the final wave of disclosure, in my opinion. We've been conditioned for so long to hand over our power to media to tell us what's truth, which we know that is a crapshoot. I mean, come on. You have to be able to look at the Easter eggs. You have to be able to look at the Easter eggs. So I think it's very plausible that there are a particular race of aliens that are us in the future that actually it was like the dark path. They handed over, they let the programming take over by Neuralink and the technology, and they're coming back to warn us. And the reason why I think the movie was hinting at this was because the gray alien at the end was in this like wheelchair looking thing, like crippled and shaking, but he had this like time, it looked like it was like designed to look like a time capsule or a veil to represent the veil lifting. But it was this like encasement that looks like a capsule. It was like a cylinder, and it opened up, and he kind of like shimmied his way out to like, do his little light language or whatever it was in her ear, and whisper something real shaky. But then I also was like, is this her dad? Because it kind of coincided with when she was 10 and was abducted, and then she lost her father, I think, at 10, or the first incidents happened with her father and Parkinson's at the age of 10, and then I think maybe he died at 14 when she was 14. But there was some interesting kind of storyline going on there that my brain was like, what is he trying to tell us? So yeah, that was kind of a lot of my downloading of the movie, was that we can't say yes to the Neuralink and the continuation of 5G to 6G and 7G. It's prepping us to hand over all the faculties, our spiritual faculties that are embedded in us. We have the ability of telepathy. We have the ability of telekinesis. And that's why I always say to go to ancient places and activate your DNA in water, and focus on detoxing right now and doing parasite cleanses. And all these things play a role. It's just little tiny things, but they all add up collectively in a big way. And it's slowly kind of like wiped our memories. We've become complacent. And that was the biggest thing, is that suddenly, everyone's going to be on their own journey and path. How they awaken is unique to them. Some may be very slow, some may be very fast. And it seemed Emily Blunt's was like ripped off, and she just went with it and trusted it. And she had a lot of kind of like minion characters and drones and NPCs or double agents, you would say, that were going after her, but they are never any match for the sovereign spiritual being. And that was the biggest takeaway from the movie. I feel everyone should download from going to see it. And I know there were a lot of spiritual thought leaders that were very disappointed in the movie, and how the grays were depicted and things like that. I never really get too up in arms about anything, because obviously in a movie they want to harvest our loosh and our energy. And if you don't know what loosh is, it's harvesting through hysteria and fear, and this is what energy vampires, their currency is made off of. So always being really grounded and clear about what you're looking at in terms of discernment, vibration, and frequency is always a huge importance. And understanding also, that was another thing, is that I found it so fascinating because like CIA basically funds all of Hollywood movies. They decide what clears for the box office, the storylines, everything. They own everything, right? And they're using the directors and the writers for the artistry in how it's told. So, and in my own experience, just being kind of a little too close to the Illuminati, like whatever that is, with my experience, like my ex who sold his soul, what I've learned is it's kind of like when you sign those contracts and when you step into that timeline, when you've sold your soul, you can't really sell your soul, but it is a program you borrow yourself to and hand over your power to. They control you. It's like puppets. It's almost like you step into this alternate reality that is your own, of your own making and your own spell work and trance. And I got that from the set that was her childhood home. So she went to find one of the guys that was kind of helping her to navigate through all the people that were after her and find the other half, which could also be a metaphor for divine masculine and divine feminine. It was Emily Blunt was the divine feminine, and the character that was going rogue and trying to disclose all the alien information from the jump drives, I forget his name, but he was depicted as the divine masculine, in my opinion, which is two collective conscious, two groups of the whole of the collective conscious that we're all struggling to find yin and yang balance with. When she's going to find her tribe and play her role, play her part, the director on the set has built her own childhood home. And he was like, we did it to make you feel more comfortable, so you felt more at home to remember. And I found that so fascinating because I think that's what a lot of Hollywood screenplays do. They hijack our own stories and spit it back to us as entertainment. And then you can get into the handlers of it all and the programmers. In particular, like a couple months back, I was lucid and conscious and well aware at nighttime someone was trying to hack into my Akashic records. And my guides, I guess it was God or some other higher being, switched all of my Akashic records to cartoons. And I could hear the guy that was like looking around, flipping around through my Akashic records was like, well, she's not as advanced as we thought. And they were like, it just looks like cartoons. And I was kind of like giggling to myself. I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's just because I'm so telepathic, I could hear what was going on as I was sleeping. And I was like, this is bizarre. So if anyone else has had a similar experience, please let me know. But I felt protected from whatever was like going and flipping and looking around in my consciousness. It was very bizarre. I was like, get out. That was like my immediate reaction. But anyway, back on track. I think that Steven Spielberg did a great job of depicting that, like, Hollywood movie sets are really just the everyday stories of people that they're almost like stealing to make a sense of home, familiarity. And then we could get into it, all of the reptilians that are in Hollywood that are body hopping, body swapping, destiny swapping, cloned. I mean, the list goes on. Vampires. It's a whole darker realm that the average day person We don't know, but we are energetically the source that's making that grid run. And so when we pull the plug and we stop giving our energy to it, we remember, just like Emily Blunt's character. We understand just how powerful we truly are, that we've been running this system. They've been using us to run this system. And so I think this is a very exciting time where a lot of us are remembering past lives as well. And another little Easter egg gem in the movie was they were really focusing on the iris, and something when Emily Blunt was 10 years old and maybe abducted by aliens, there was something implanted or manipulated with her iris. Just a fun fact, what I know through my own spiritual experiences and downloads from my guides is that the reason that they're using iris laser technology for recognition, or wanting to, with digital IDs and things like that, and scanning in airports and stuff, is because when you reincarnate, the iris will never, the shape, the pattern of the eye of the iris of the eye never changes from body to body, from lifetime to lifetime. It may change in color, but the pattern won't change. And so they can track DNA-wise and bloodline-wise, but also your soul through iris recognition. And I don't know if anybody really talks about that in the spiritual community. That's just something I've intuited and stumbled. Like I said, I intuit something, and then I stumble upon it in a Hollywood movie, and it confirms it for me, because they have to tell you the truth in plain sight to they think it's erasing their karma. But it's catching up with them. And the time is here. And I think that's the real disclosure, that we just being like not falling for it anymore, not giving celebrities our energy or looking up to them. We're the real stars, and being sovereign, self-sufficient. So a great movie that depicts the reincarnation and how the iris doesn't change is a movie called I Origins. It's one of my favorite films ever. And it's so true to life. It's a little bit freaky and scary. So I would go watch it if you want to really understand reincarnation. It's quite fascinating. Another thing that I've learned from my guides is that sometimes when we have a lot of soul ties to victimhood, or can't let go of something, or can't forgive something, oftentimes when you pass away, in that moment, you can incarnate tied to that person that you had a strong soul tie. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative, sometimes they're attachments. Like if you can't get over the fact that someone divorced you or cheated on you, and in the next life you're their child, things like that. Another thing is also you can also track this back by your birth chart, your natal chart. But a lot of times, so like your north node is going to be opposite of your south node. Your north node is opposite of your south node, right? But your south node is going to be what your sign was in a past life too. That's also a little clue. And then there's a lot in terms of geographical location where it's almost like a timestamp. I've heard that you'll die exactly in one location, and then you wait until the astrological stars align and you incarnate in that same star map and geographic location, if that makes sense. It's like a time in and time out, like timestamp at work in the old days, like in the 80s. So very fascinating. I love all of these topics. I love exploring them. Yeah, I was a little bit, a little disappointed. I thought there was going to be more light language in the movie. I thought there was going to be like way more on the aliens. Quite honestly, I took way more about psychic abilities and mediumship and how all of our special abilities, our psychic abilities, really can be used in a way that kind of unblocks our path and kind of like disappears whatever agents, whatever minions are trying to disrupt along your path and like stop your mission or stop your purpose. It did a good job of depicting just how psychic we all really truly are and the power of human empathy. Even with the reptilians and people in power, there is a level of empathy sometimes that where they submit, I would say. I've seen it absolutely as a psychic medium myself. I mean, literally, like what happened with Emily Blunt was like my story. Like I was already a practicing psychic medium, but it kind of brought my abilities, my telepathy abilities to a whole nother level. And it was like the second I was on my path and just surrendering to it, it was like my abilities would open up whatever was trying to naturally block me. It was like miracle after here. Just it was like, how is this happening? Just miracle after miracle. Once I awoke to like what was really going on around me, and I didn't want any part of it. So I really encourage you to only listen to yourself. Not even you are your best guide. Like not even me. Like I even tell my clients that like, yes, I'm a good like bouncing off point. That's how we as humans, we need each other. It's the checks and balances of the universe. But you, first and foremost, and connected to God, that is going to be your best navigational system. And bouncing off ideas and helping to sound off those theories and see where you land with people that you trust is always going to help the collective consciousness ascend. And healing the body through the DNA light codes and finding your own modalities and methods to create and manipulate this canvas that is the 3D matrix, because that is the name of the game. That is the purpose, is to learn your unique soul's signal, your personal signature, soul signature and stamp here. And so I don't know about y'all, but I will not be doing the Neuralink. I mean, I saw at Whole Foods, they were like accepting the palm chip. And I'm just like, they're already putting chips in dogs. And that's already been programmed as acceptable, which I don't agree with that. I mean, yeah, sorry, shoot me. But yeah, physically altering an anatomical vessel, I just don't agree with it. Yes, it might be for a good cause, but who is at the top manipulating the information that's coming through that chip? They can probably track heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and they already are doing it with like Apple Watches and stuff. That is the stuff of vampires. Vampires like to know if you're nervous. It's like we're prey. So the more that you can detach yourself from all that surveillance, the better. you know, you got to walk that neutral line though. We're already so heavily indoctrinated into it that I think disclosure is really like, which timeline are you going to choose? Because it is free will. And yeah. So what are your thoughts? Leave a comment. Let's see what anybody wants to chime in here. I think the collective is napping. True that. Hi, Sam. The same happened with me. So many downloads, and I had many physical symptoms too. I love the movie. Hey, Steve. Oh, thanks. Yes, remember to hit the like, comment, and share. Helps to kind of like push the video in the algorithm. Yes, your modality might be something you create. Mm-hmm. The internet is not our friend. Oh, yeah, that was another thing, too, from Emily Blunt would hold the wand. We'll call it the wand. And she was able to kind of like invisibly cloak her and everybody that was trying to get away from the dark forces and the three-letter agencies that were like on their heels tracking them because they were going to disclose all the information. Yeah, I got that download from like the phone because I felt like the wand was the representation of the phone, how they're wanting to get everything in there that they can just delete stuff. And that could be also the mandala effect, where they can manipulate the matrix timeline, like through Project Looking Glass, through technologies. Listen, I kid you not. I've been going to my storage unit a couple times a week, and I've been documenting and tallying. I swear to God, every day the code changes. It's a 2-part code to get into the gate. And the numbers are always the same, but they're in different orders. And I'm like, I would go at the gate and I'd be like, I literally swear to God, I told myself, okay, remember, Jessica, you have to put this one first. And so I started like tallying, and it's like 50-50. So I was like starting to think, I was like, why is this changing? This code is like changing. And even there's a sign that tells you how to put in the code. And some days it doesn't match up. It's like the weirdest thing. And so I'm like, is this a mandala effect? So I started documenting it, and it's like 50-50. Half the time it's one chronological order, half the time it's the other. And I'm like, am I like oscillating between two timelines right now? It's super weird. And one of those days I noticed that an Outback restaurant was on the road. And then the other day I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't realize that Outback had turned into like this Mexican, like weird local restaurant or whatever. It was interesting. So pay attention, folks, because I think we're going to see some CERN like adjustments trying to compete with disclosure. So that there's another element to that, I feel. I try to keep a sense of humor about it, but I've absolutely noticed some shifts, mandala effects, that are little, that really don't bother me that much, but I've noticed it because I'm like, I know I remember I made a like little like memory game with myself on remembering to put that number first, and then the next day it would be back to the one that was wrong the previous day. So I was like, this is so weird. Has anyone else had any experiences like that? 444. Oh, okay. CERN is temporarily on hold, I heard. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but something. Hi, Cam. All right, let's pull some cards collectively. I also felt like in the movie, I don't know if anyone else like felt this when they were watching the footage, the alien footage in the movie, but I felt like it was real footage that they had like superimposed different like overlays on top of it to disguise it. That's what it felt like. Like the clothing of the aliens, like it's like they didn't change anything, but like the overlay clothing of the aliens. That was like the immediate kind of like thing I got download. Oh yeah. My guys were like, we need to talk about the alien meeting at the White House. Okay. Let me pull this up. One sec. Okay. This is hilarious. I feel like, hey, abundantly empowered to make the Large Hadron Collider stronger by tenfold. Oh God, I hope not. Okay, so this picture right here, see, they're trying to create buzz and they're trying to be like, all of the conspiracy theories, they're giving like little Easter eggs to them so they'll run with it. Like, I this to me right here is hidden in plain sight. So like immediately I'm looking at their clothing and their attire. It looks like they're absolutely aligned with the royal family. This looks like something that Prince William and Prince Harry would be wearing. On top of that, now there are some Nordics I feel that are higher vibrational, that aren't like controlled or hijacked or compromised with the royals or the government. Like I said, there's facets in every race, off-world or race, that are both good and bad. Here, I think these people, these Nordics, they could also be mixed with a little bit of Pleiadian. I feel like they are missing a very vital nutrient that they need. In that they have been under the dominion and the control of the royal family. It kind of looks like, yeah, I mean, it says it all in the attire. What do y'all think? I'm hoping aliens take him away. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if y'all were here for the last episode. So they kind of look like, let me switch my window. One sec. So I was trying to show you guys like some of the beings I've come across that weren't necessarily bad, that they gave me information in my travels, and that they were closely related to the Cassiopeans. See, I feel we here on Earth, we've been seeded from all, it's a big experiment. We have DNA from all races. We also have been hijacked and been mixed. We have a reptilian mind. We have reptilian DNA. And the obstacle course here on Earth is to learn how to find balance and merging with the light and the shadow from the root all the way to the higher chakras, and manipulate the energy to create, to learn on this Earth ship how to merge and become one, how to ascend, how to bring the 5D here on the 3rd D, because we're not, the reptilians and the lower vibrational beings are keeping Earth in a lower dimensional state than what it's meant to be in. And so there are some beings that are here to help and give information to the people that have the ability to discern and also see spiritually. You'll start to notice that hidden things behind the veil will become very apparent, almost like X-ray vision, as you detach from the matrix, decode it, and look at things with a spiritual eye. So I shared these alien or off-worlders. I had a similar, smaller elven type powdered milk skin, just like those Nordics. But the difference with what AI created, it looked very similar to what AI created, but the difference between the AI depictions and what I saw were the color of the eyes. I forgot to mention that. AI will like immediately just draw an alien with black eyes, which are like, not anytime I've seen just blacked out eyes, it's never been good for the soul of that being I'm viewing. I immediately reverse and get out. Let's see. Let me show ya. No. One second, bear with me. Okay. So this being had more crystalline blue eyes and didn't look as like emaciated. And the collar lit up with light technology. Now, this is another thing with beings. Can you see it? Oh, no, you can't see it. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So this being had crystal blue eyes when it appeared to me. And also the collar was lit up in sacred geometric shapes. And there was a little bit of a bluer tint to the skin, I would say, not gray. Yeah. You can always tell through the being's eyes, in my opinion. And also anything that's of the light will have an illumination to them. We have an illumination to them. So a lot of grays that are like trapped in underground will have a lot of wrinkles and almost look dehydrated, in my opinion. And they'll have the caps over the eyes and they'll be like really glassy and dark. Anytime I've seen a being from the 4th dimension as well, like those ogre, they always have black eyes and they look like their skin just looks like it needs something. So the aliens at the White House dressed up as Prince Harry and Prince William, it just made me laugh and giggle. It just looks like that's a stage. It's like almost like a CIA publicity stunt, like just to back up the Disclosure Day movie debut. So everyone's like, oh my God, there's really aliens. They're gonna, like, I feel like the disclosure comes from within. Like that is like a really big, strong feeling. Yes, you will have experiences yourself, but they won't be like broadcast on a big stage because they're trying to silence the truth. That's what I really feel. Yeah, and Octurians also have these elongated skulls, and it's like a blue hue, but they also have like a sparkly aura. They look like what? Let's see. They look like Draco Malfoy's dad from Harry Potter. I need to watch Harry Potter. I've never seen Harry Potter. I know. I've also never seen Star Wars. I really need to watch it. Hi, can you tell me tell if my guides and higher self to activate my gifts. Can you tell my guides and higher self to activate my gifts? Sure, done. But I would say, Timothy, that you have more power in asking for it. So maybe your guides are waiting for your permission. That's another thing too. If your guides are from the light, they wait for you to give them permission to intervene on your highest good and on your behalf. So I would set that dynamic up for yourself. You have the power, my friend. I'm waiting for some type of fake script for July 4th, similar to the Independence. No, my gosh, I know, right? Yeah, you can always tell. Because like on TikTok, there's been a trend of like Independence Day films, you know, all kinds of stuff. Yes, we need to look within for answers. Yeah. And like my truth is not maybe always going to be someone else's truth, because that is the whole point of experience for starseeds. Is the whole point that we came in this experiment with higher level souls from the higher dimension decided to incarnate. It's not easy to make it to Earth as a soul, I'll tell you that much. And so if you're an activated star seed on a mission and you've woken up to the Truman Show, it's like going on a scavenger hunt and having predestined meetings and crossings with other equivalent souls to give hidden that missing piece of the puzzle. That's why they're no match for God, because God has it encoded in our DNA, and it's only there available when absolutely the right moment presents itself. Will it be accessible by that individual starseed in their coding, in their DNA? And that's why, transmissions and activations by crossing certain souls' path magnetize you, and you're like, why am I having way deeper of a connection with you than, let's say, Joe Schmo that I was talking to last week? Like, not all souls are created equally, and not all souls are in the same leg of the journey towards that destination. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, transmissions and activations are coming from the light codes embedded secretly in starseeds. And that's what the government's trying to basically like force us to hand over with our Akashic records and our consciousness, with Neuralink, with manipulating this to always be in our hand. Our hands are extremely healing tools and magnetic tools in telekinesis, regenerating the body. Yeah. Mystic Mama, if anything happens, it wouldn't be real. Exactly. I mean, the fact that these aliens are just like the royals from the UK is hilarious to me. Yep, we choose to come here to combat the chaos because we can. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like if you ever come across the extreme chaos like I've been, like I had with witchcraft and things like that, speak into your water, like return to sender, use your hands, push the energy away, and you can, talk to your water and then drink it and be like, I am peace, I am love, I am divine. That's very powerful as well. Energy healing, yes. Okay, I'm like all over the place, so let's pull some cards. Oh yeah, I forgot to show. I'm so ADD. Okay, I forgot to show you this little guy. So yeah, so this guy that I saw had blue eyes and didn't look that emaciated. He had very cool futuristic clothing and was connected to the Cassiopeans. So this character could also have some DNA spliced and shared with the Nordics. You know what I mean? Like there's been such experimentation and a mixed match. And especially here, some of us have Nordic DNA, the tall people, probably and Norwegians. We're just like a spliced experiment, literally science experiment. So we have a little bit of all this, and it's like all the beings around the world are watching over us to see what we're going to do, because we don't know we don't know the extent of our capabilities once our DNA is activated. But this real scary thing that I've heard from all the off-worlders is that we are the only humans are the only beings that have the keys to access every dome and every world beyond this earth realm and the celestial lands. That's why they're studying us. And we have no idea. It's kind of like we're lab rats, fleas on a dog, and we don't realize it. And so the more that you can tune in and learn your unique powers about telekinesis and manipulating healing energy within your body, understanding how your body works, understanding how your psychic abilities and spiritual gifts work for your unique set of gifts, the more, and also with your DNA, the more that we will ascend as a planet and be able to kind of like transmute all of that chaos that the Star Wars agenda wants to create here on this earth plane. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. Ooh, and look, we got the Empress. That's the card that flew out. I asked my guys, like, what is the overall channeled message and what card can best explain what the collective needs to hear? And yeah, the Empress is known for creation. We've got all the worlds. We've got all the planets. We have pink, which is the color of unconditional love. It's normally when I see a pregnant woman, her aura is pink. It's a sign that the heart chakra is really open and, motherly unconditional love. But yeah, it's time to protect. See how she has a hoodie? We are all the Empress cloaked right now. We're all cloaking our divine feminine. We're shielding and protecting from the patriarchy that's trying to force the natural keys of creation from us. And the best way to cloak ourselves, protect ourselves, shield ourselves is to call your power back and to choose sovereignty. Like I know me, I'm like obsessing about off-grid stuff and solar panel stuff. And yeah, gardening with ancient heirloom seeds and things like that. Steadily, that's where really attention and focus should go. And like wearing copper metals that help you emit your proper frequency, helping to raise your frequency. Breathing, earthing, gardening, yep. Quiet contemplation. Yeah, calming our nervous system for sure. Yeah, you'll notice like if you fall asleep with the TV on or you fall asleep with your phone too close to your head, you'll have like negative thoughts that morning. That's what I find. It's just like a focus wheel where I have to redirect. Yes. The best way to heal the inner child and trauma is to partake in the activities that you used to love doing as a child. Hooking back into that frequency and that mindset. That's also kind of like a little time travel hack to raise your frequency. Yes, our thoughts and words carry frequency that can affect our food and water. Yeah, that's why cooking always tastes kind of different. It could be the same dish, but it changes based on who cooks it because their energy changes the molecules. I used to be really OCD about that as a kid, like really picky. I don't know, just certain people I didn't like making my food. It would like gross me out. And how people eat, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but like I can see entities on people by the way that they smack and their ticks with their mouth. Drives me up a wall. Some people I just can't even watch eating. Like it's just so gross. I know that's really mean, but yeah, that's one thing. Yes, Steve. Soul, source of unconditional love. Hands yellow, heart red, heart red. Oh, those are probably emojis. Yes, talking to water, activating water. Water carries memory. It's just like the Emoto experiment. What the water froze as in crystalline structures with like loving words, and then it was muddy and gross with, yeah. Now everyone's talking about that experiment, and I just have to say, in 2015, I was talking about that in my yoga classes, and now everybody's talking about it. I'm like, man. Come on, Hangman and Fool, Wheel of Fortune, High Priestess. I like that one. Let's see. Here's another one. Two of Voices in reverse. What am I getting from this one? So remember earlier I was saying, which do you choose? Like which timeline? I don't know. From this, I'm getting the choice has already been made. Maybe for this particular group of people that are here. And it feels like cosmic. Like immediately I'm getting drawn to the little door, the pink light and cosmic scenery. Also, I'm getting a seal. I just saw that in my mind's eye. So that might be an animal guide for somebody, a seal. Huh, I've never seen that on a client before, I will say. Put it in the comments below if you have a seal guide. Justice in the upright, balance. Also getting roses are significant for someone here. Yeah, inspiration is the biggest thing right now. So my guides are saying for this particular group of special individuals, star seeds, who are watching this, inspiration is going to strike in moments of free flow where you're not swimming upstream and hurrying to be in survival mode or because you feel like you have to. The trick is to find inspiration when you've detached to caring about the outcome. That's what I just downloaded. And many of us get stuck in the trap of materials. So that is one thing I learned in my crises is I didn't care, and miracle after miracle after miracle, boom, 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 boom. It was crazy. I've absolutely experienced that in real time. All right, one last card, and then I got to run because I have a reading. I got to go, a scheduled reading to do. The moon. All is revealed in the divine feminine empress energy of inspiration. All will be disclosed within. You'll be able to see it. It's already been disclosed. They've been telling us in plain sight for years with the movies They Live, with Back to the Future, all kinds of stuff. Trying to think, for some reason, what just popped in my mind was Princess Bride. Does anyone used to watch that movie? That used to be one of my favorites as a kid. I hated Disney movies. I hated cartoons because when I was a kid, like the old animation, like Snow White, which was animated by hand, I hated watching that movie because I didn't realize this was my psychic ability, but like all I could see was the person drawing each frame. It was so distracting. I couldn't focus on the story that I was watching as a kid, and I didn't realize what that was. I just hated cartoons because of it. Isn't that funny? The Hierophant. So a change in the order of hierarchy is happening. Who's in charge? Who's at the top? Who's number one? And that's going to be us. Well, alrighty, guys. Thanks for coming and listening to me ramble about my weird happenings and my thoughts and theories. I appreciate you guys so much. Love y'all to bits. Until next time, love and light.